So in this video, I want to take you through 4 hard truths about dating the dismissive avoidant attachment style. In other words, the avoidant love style in relationships. So if you're not already familiar with what a dismissive avoidant is, it's one of 4 major attachment styles. And it's the attachment style in a relationship that tends to be the one that can be kind of commitment fearing, closed off, slower to warm up. And part of this comes from that they usually go through a good bit of neglect emotionally in the childhood. And so, as a result of that and their upbringing, they struggle to feel comfortable and safe in intimacy with others because they had historically negative experiences and associations to those things growing up. So, the first thing you want to know is that everybody has an attachment style. And if you're not already familiar, you can take the attachment style quiz down below. But dismissive avoidants have a lot of nice things about them that do tend to really draw people in. They can be very interesting, very smart, very funny, quite mysterious, and they can be excellent at intellectually connecting with other people. Now, dismissive avoidance, and this is where it comes into the major hard truths here. Dismissive avoidance, they tend to be coming from a space where they are always operating from their feelings minus their fears in relationships. So they have a lot of feelings for somebody and they're really developing those feelings. As long as their big subconscious fears are not triggered, they tend to operate quite well in relationships. But generally, the more commitment starts happening in relationships and the more seriousness and vulnerability starts becoming required in relationships as they progress, the more the avoidant love style partner or dismissive avoidant tends to need to pull away as a form of self-protection. Now, these things are not conscious. It's not like the dismissive avoidance sits there and goes, oh, I'm going to intentionally do this. These things are subconscious and they're methods of self-preservation. But what can happen as a result of this is that if there's a lot of big fears in a relationship, you can be dating somebody who's a dismissive avoidant. You can be starting off so strongly, everything's going really, really well. And seemingly out of the blue, that person can start pulling away or shutting down. And this happens generally in the first, once things start to progress quite strongly, like maybe 6 months in, a year and a half. And there can be this seemingly sudden change that's out of the blue. But what's actually happening is a lot of those dormant subconscious fears are now getting pushed on. They come to the surface and they influence the dismissive avoidance behavior. So it's a really important hard truth to keep in mind because it brings us to hard truth number 2, which is that if the dismissive avoidant isn't ready and willing to work through these different fears and show up for them, it can cause you to feel more anxious in the relationship with them. It's obviously something you can also work on if you have different subconscious core wounds or different things that are getting triggered for you when somebody does pull away. You can work on that. But at the same time, there has to be healthy interdependency in a relationship. Like you can't be the only one to work on it. What you should be looking for in a healthy way is for the dismissive avoidant to be working through their fears as well. And if you're co-creating that as a unit, that leads to amazing outcomes. But if one of you is going all in and the other person isn't, it's going to lead to a lot of unnecessary push-pull patterns in relationships. One person may feel a lot more rejected, lonely in the relationship. A lot of those different things can come up. If you want to do a deeper dive into like how a dismissive avoidant attachment style works and who the dismissive avoidant really is and understanding them, either if you are a DA yourself listening to this, or if you are the partner or loved one of a dismissive avoidant, then there's a course you can check out for free for 14 days that will basically give you all of the clarity you need to understand the mechanics of what's actually happening with the dismissive avoidant and what they need to change. The course is basically an hour long, and it will help you have a major breakthrough in either the clarity that you need, deciding whether or not it's worth staying and showing up for this relationship over time, or exactly the tools you need to really create a breakthrough in that relationship so that you can deepen the connection. And again, the course is free for 14 days. It's something you can easily get through in the first 7 days. And we have a full money back guarantee if you don't have that major breakthrough. So you can check that out using the link in the description box below. Now, point number 3 here is that you might find yourself also feeling lonely when dating a dismissive avoidant if they don't change. And this is the result of largely a lot of unmet needs. Now, in a healthy interdependent relationship, we both communicate our needs. We share those needs back and forth. We communicate with them with one another. And although we won't always be perfect at meeting them for each other, the goal here is for us to make healthy compromises and meet each other part way. But sometimes because dismissive avoidants get a lot of neglect themselves, basically their modeling for relationships is one of neglect. They essentially get modeling that says, hey, we're all out for ourselves here and nobody has to be meeting each other's needs. And unfortunately, that leads to a lot of breakdowns in relationships because a big reason that we get into relationships in the first place is to meet each other's needs. So if the dismissive avoidant isn't taking steps and coming part way through specific communication tools that you can use or practices you can use, largely which that course has in a lot of detail, then we can feel really stuck and we can feel really defeated in relationships. And what I've seen a lot over the years is like people don't set a deadline for, how long they'll work at something, and they can just get stuck in this gray area with dismissive avoidance for a very long period of time. And it's really at their own expense. And this brings me to point number 4, which is that if dismissive avoidants have some of that programming, you may see that they are unwilling to compromise in relationships. And again, in PDS, we have all these amazing dismissive avoidants who come in, heal, do the work, take the steps. It is super possible for a dismissive avoidant to change. I've seen it hundreds, if not thousands of times in my life at this point. But what really matters is that person showing up? Are they doing the work? Are their feelings minus fears, dynamics really imbalanced? Do they have enough feelings to be able to, conquer those fears and break through things? Or are those fears simply too strong because of the, intense challenges that they might have gone through in childhood? And really what everything is going to hinge on is, does this person show up and do the work? And it doesn't mean they're a bad person if they're not able to, but it may mean that they may not be the perfect fit for a romantic relationship if you're looking for something interdependent where both of you meet each other's needs and open up and communicate and do that work. So I have some really exciting news, and it's that integrated attachment theory training is back. In other words, you can be trained to become a relationship coach certified in integrated attachment theory in literally 60 days. So who's this for? Well, of course, this is for any individual who wants to make an impact and really be of service to others while also obtaining freedom and flexibility and abundance in their lives. And this is also for anybody who's already a counselor, a therapist, a coach, and just really wants to expand their toolkit. We've had so many people enter into the integrated attachment theory program because they're just looking to obtain a certain degree of mastery in terms of understanding their own attachment patterns and also the attachment patterns of maybe their children or partner or other loved ones in their lives, so they can really support those people and understand them more deeply. Now, please keep in mind that the last 2 times we ran this program, we filled up very fast. In fact, we oversold the programs and sold out completely. So if you're interested, click the link below to learn more and dive in with me. And I'd love to see you on the other side before seats run out. So I think these are really important things to keep in mind. I see a lot of people kind of chasing indefinitely, and for any attachment style, no matter what attachment style it is, it's really important to check in with some of these things and have an honest perspective in the relationship to ourselves. And again, if you are the dismissive avoidant, it's so valuable to do that inner work and break through so that you can see the healing and then see the blessings and like amazing things about healthy interdependent relationships. I know they feel scary when you're DA, but as you become more secure, you get like all the rewards out of a relationship, but you can also have healthy communication. So it doesn't have to feel like your boundaries are being violated or you lose your sense of self and freedom. It's not that at all in a secure relationship. So I hope this makes sense. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to this channel. I literally put out daily videos on all different attachment styles, the subconscious mind, family, upbringing, love, all sorts of dynamics on here that we talk about. So I hope you subscribe, and I will see you in future videos.